Hey guys, welcome back to SEO Stream 2023. I hope you've had a fantastic show so far. I know we've gotten through a lot of content, a lot of talking. Stephen went slightly over, but we'll let him get away with it. Next up is a fantastic talk for any of you who own your own websites, any of you who do affiliate, or any of you who are just looking to better monetize your portfolio. So I want to introduce to you today Jamie IF, who will be going through how to squeeze every dollar out of your affiliate site.
Hello everyone, I'm Jamie. When I wrote these slides I was 26. We'll keep pretending I'm still in my mid-20s. I've turned 27 at the weekend. I'm from London. I do mostly the affiliate stuff. I've run my own portfolio. I've been making job replacement income since 2020. Since then we've scaled up a fair bit, scraped over $1 million profits since then, and taken on some investments and other stuff since then. Now, 4 days a week, I've gone into the SaaS side, affiliate marketing, analytics, that sort of fun stuff. And so I've been on the producer end, creating my own content, and now I spend a lot of my time helping other people get as much money as possible out of their sites. And so here, firstly, are the things that I think that you should do to put your best foot forward going into 2024 with everything going very differently after helpful content, as well as my tips for just CRO and squeezing every dollar you can out of your site from every visitor, and some things that having on some of my sites been hit, what I'm personally doing and the KPIs I'm measuring to try and recover and hit new sites in the years coming upwards. So these are the three main things we're going to cover for CRO. Conversion rate optimization, obviously on-page stuff. The better tracking of your revenue, because I think that most people just don't have as firm a grip on their data as they should. And number three, it's basic, just ask for more money. As well as a bit of a quick rant on the current meta and what needs to be done, and some trust signals to measure if you want to recover. So firstly, a rant. If you do affiliate stuff and you've not been hit, then you are doing well. Most people are. Most people are hit in the region of 50 to 60%. It is fixable, but it's not easy. The days of just being able to outsource freelance writers and write stuff that ranks and earns you money is ending with the advent of AI and what Google are doing to change how easy it is for an affiliate site to rank versus e-commerce versus larger publishers that are gold standard publishers and everything else. However, it is fixable. This is not a branding talk, but the people who are not here, and we'll talk about links and everything else, but they're real journalists who go to the exhibitions and trade shows in their niches. They have, we haven't fully done this for our sites yet, but we're talking about testing labs, branded rooms that you can show that are repeatable, real product reviews are being done for, as well as not just writing the top 10 best laptops, but actually doing individual product reviews for each, building your topical authority and daring someone to click the internal link from a best article to a more specific product review. Editorial standards boards with high profile industry names. The definition we're using to try and build these, that I've spoken to other people they've recommended, is if that person walked into your industry or niche's trade show to their local meetup, they would be known. That person is known, a celebrity in that niche. You can put their name to it, edit a schema, have two authors on the page, and reinforce yourself there. That's what I'm seeing from people that are not here, as well as all the link side, as well as the other sort of fairly easily crawlable signals of affiliate versus brand. So think about it. Would anyone be disappointed if your site disappeared today? If it disappeared, would there be hordes of people jamming Reddit? What happened to this? Where did this go? We needed this. I relied on this for my daily, my weekly fix of information. A lot of mine, I don't think that we'd have a lot of complaints. I think that it was faceless traffic that we didn't do enough on. You can grow a site and then just outsource content, do the SEO stuff without making it a more three-dimensional brand. But now we're seeing that not work anymore, and you have to have, you can also just we've all done it. We've all just, bought an age domain, AI, spun it up, and it goes well for a while. And you can get traffic from it, but you may not get an exit. And the exit for the large amount of money is really the reason I do this as a business person, to get the ROI, and the exit for the asset value at the end. And for that, you need stability, and you need to be in the game, growing, positive for years and years. So here's the section one. I see a lot of people talk about GSC graphs, they post Ahrefs, and that's all fine, but how much you make, how rich are you? Because everything else is a vanity metric. If I'm not seeing, bank account screenshots, then I don't really care about how much traffic you get. So to do that and to maximize how much you make off each person that comes onto your site, there's three main sections in this. So the first is just general principles of good affiliate content, a template that I use and I think that you can steal for product review content, and then the niche nuances for best content versus single product reviews and stuff like that. So the basic principles, There was, I'm not sure if it still runs, there was a show where like British people used to go to Spain, and it was called Location, 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 where it was like trying to pick a nice little like holiday house. And so when I tell people, when I'm doing like little audits with people, I'm like segmentation, segmentation, segmentation. Because there's so many people that want to put 10 laptops on a post, top 10 best. And there's nothing, they're all great, they're all good, this spec is amazing. There's no reason to pick one or the other. Everything is a 6 out of 10 good, but that person who's come onto the page is just as clueless to make an actual decision that requires like overcoming objections, emotional barriers, especially for something as expensive and emotional as a laptop. How are you going to make someone feel so confident that that is going to solve their problems? To do that, you have to know exactly what segments are visiting your page and make sure that you tailor each segment for your products. No one wants to buy from someone that doesn't feel confident and isn't able to do strong value judgments. If you say like, it's good, okay, now I don't have confidence in you. And also, part of the strong value judgments is obviously knowing your stuff, but also being able to like not be so afraid of losing a sale that you don't make a sale. Tell people who it's not for, and they'll build trust with you from there. And then you have both sides of the story, a more fair judgment, and you build trust and rapport, and then you can sell. The example on the left that do this well being a Wirecast, who have continued to do well. This is a simple template that you can do. We'll go through each part in more detail as we go through, but a title that stands out and get clicks with CTR, an introduction that builds authority, it establishes you as an expert, but without any fluff or whatever like these other intros are, that actually gets straight into it, that segments products, leads you down a funnel to buy something, and solves, like it meets the needs of and the intent of the article super quickly. A brief description of the products that you're going for, this is in the intro, then the CTA, a display that you can then have, a table, whether that's for like a versus or a best article, but for a product review, just have the single one. The actual main product review, the in-depth description, go H2s or H3s per spec or any other comparable point and go through there. FAQs, which to be honest, I'm leaning towards like not doing as much now because most of these FAQs are just so easily like scrapable for a machine learning algorithm to think like this is a low quality affiliate site versus like just answering that in the main content. And then alternatives, if they've got to the bottom of the page, you haven't done enough. Either your copy wasn't good enough or the buyer intent wasn't good enough for that person coming. So don't lose that traffic, try and send them where they're most relevant and where they can, where you can still make money off them. And the conclusion with another affiliate CTA at the end. So the title, you need to hit what I call the micro intent. And so this is an example for one of the sites I'm an investor in. It's a review of a personal finance investing app called Invest Engine. And so when you look at Invest Engine review and you see this, it's easy to think, okay, there's just reviews. But how you can steal clicks and best meet search intent and the micro intent of that is when they search Invest Engine review, what are they really, really searching for? Like, so if you look at number 1, number 4, number 5, number 6, Invest Engine review from moneytothemasses.com, is it the cheapest investment platform? Then you've got number 5, Invest Engine review, the best place to invest for free. Number 6, Invest Engine review, a low-cost solution for smaller, I presume that's investors. If you look at that and you think, what is the profile of someone who's searching, without checking any of their content, which you should be doing anyway, who is searching for this? Cheap, low cost, free. It's a beginner investor. They're less experienced. They have less money to invest on average, and they're probably not as financially literate. Now, what does that type of person want to see on this SERP to click? What's their hidden pain point, their unfulfilled needs that's like cause them to search this? It's, I'm a beginner, I'm risk averse, and I want a safe entry to investing. Please make me feel at ease. How can you do that in the title? I've had a few attempts at the bottom. Invest Engine review, cheap yet reliable for beginner investors. Invest Engine review, still the best cheap investing app. Or Invest Engine, the safest investment app, as Matt, I should say, app, tested. So it's like, how can you go, and then, so we were at number 10 originally, how can you then tailor your title to steal clicks, which is a ranking factor, and better meet search intent so that people come in already trusting you more because you've answered, you've made them go, that's exactly what I was looking for, before they've even arrived. Your intro, you may know Prospect Theory by Kahneman and Tversky. I believe it won them a Nobel Prize, but basically the long and short is if you lose money, it's set in a gambling setting. An equal loss hurts more than the pleasure of receiving a gain. So gamblers chase losses, and it's like we are risk averse. We avoid a loss more than we chase a victory. And so when you come and you want to buy something, especially if it's a really emotional product, like if I'm buying a digital camera for my business, if I get this wrong, I'm in a bad way. I'm angry, I'm out of money, my business is declining, my dreams are put on hold. And so there's such a, you have to overcome every objection, every possible thing that makes someone feel so unbelievably confident, especially for high emotional things. You know, if you're selling table salt, fine, whatever. But if you're selling a high emotion good, you really need to overcome all the objections. And so instantly tell someone, based on the segments coming to this page, who is this best for. If it's a general best laptops, then you have a harder job because you have to identify the segments that were coming, and that's a really broad keyword, so there's a lot of different profiles coming. But instantly be able to show, because there's such a hurt of making the wrong decision, there's such a risk-averse nature of someone coming onto this page, you have to make it so clear. This is the best one for graphic design because of XYZ, relatable situation that they can imagine themselves doing. This is the best one for gaming because relatable situation, insert commonly played game they might have built an affinity with so that you build a connection from that. And then do not mix the intent either. On reviewing of some of my own sites, I realized that actually we weren't as good on the intent for affiliate as we thought. It's so easy to think that because you've like designed a nice block that says like, how does a vacuum work on a vacuum affiliate page, that like, the readers don't see it's just there because it's a H2, but really all Google sees rendering the page is the H2 of that, and it like is your mixing intent. You're instantly just not really like dialed into the best affiliate intent behind that. And so what I use now is the Spear framework for intros, where you instantly meet the search intent. The goal is to make them go, yes, finally, this person understands me. Pain points, because they're risk averse, and because negative emotions weigh higher in someone's brain than positive, you want to make sure that, like, if you're trying to sell a laptop or a vacuum, you want to use, like, you could go, yeah, this will clean your house quick, but it's more powerful to go, this will save you from having a back pain because it took you so much longer because of the heavy vacuum, or the embarrassment of when your family come around and you haven't cleaned everything and they wonder how you live like this. The avoidance of negative emotions and situations weighs more powerfully. And so you can use that, talk about the pain points that they're trying to solve that led to them searching that keyword in the first place. You also want to come across as a non-insecure expert. You don't go, guys, I'm really important, I've got this PhD in vacuuming. Like you have to, you subtly switch in based on my 15 years experience owning a cleaning company, ... whatever else. You want to look like you're not even trying, like you're not even getting out of second gear. You are just the person for this. Audience is slightly different from search intent, because search intent is like, this is what you came for. Audience is more around segments. Who's coming to this page? What do they want? What do they not want? What are they looking to hear? What jargon would identify with? What scenarios would they mentally visualize and get something out of? And rapport is, you want to do all this and also be likable. Now, again, you can come across as insecure if you try and like be like, this is cool, right? Like, haha, we're on the same team. And that works in some more like gaming niches and more like tribal, like fun, like upbeat stuff. But if you want to go more industrial and high ticket, that won't work as well. You want to be likable because you're an expert and you're confident, but not like, you're not trying to beg to be their friend. Now, these intros used to be wordier because to get all of this is difficult. Now we've got the 2.0 version where it's super concise, literally just instantly meet the search intent in the first paragraph. Then this is the best overall. Reasons why. Third paragraph, however, you're looking for the best, and then pick two alternatives. So you've got your top three, say best, the cheap version is this. This is because you still get XYZ specs for this. It does this well. However, you sacrifice XYZ over the more expensive one. And if you're looking for the premium version, I recommend this if money is no object, because you get XYZ other specs. You can actually get this done fairly automated. I'm not going to show you the niche, but this is a little cheeky prompt you can put into Claude. You paste your entire article in, which is why I did it in Claude, because for longer affiliate articles, I'm not sure that GPT-4 has the context window yet, though it will change any day now. And you go, I'm going to paste you an article on the best vacuums, laptops, whatever. You're going to write a concise introduction to the article that immediately meets the search intent for SEO, that summarizes the article with the following points. The best is this overall. Add a short description of why, and because you've plugged your article in, it will help you with this. The best other segment, in this case professional, is this, add a short description. And alternatives include this and this. Give short descriptions of why these are good and the specific use cases they could be best for. Because it's not just about putting also rans. You should never have more products than you've got segments, so that every type of person that comes to your page finds something that is a 9.5 out of 10 for them, that overcomes all the objections, that is so difficult to get someone to commit and like trigger a buying purchase, that like you should never have anything that doesn't match like a decent percentage of the people that would come onto the page. And so you're not putting these alternatives in there just to make up numbers, because all you're doing there is giving people like decision paralysis and making it less clear. The alternatives have to have really clear like reasons to be there, and then you can add them here in the intro. The output, this is an example for like vacuums. It did it in 2 paragraphs. You can take like the second one and put it in half. But it actually did a decent job, given that it was making stuff up. But if you actually put your article in, it'll do a better job than that. You want to have a strong value judgment in the intro. This is an example from one of the sites I'm an investor in, upthegains.co.uk. It's actually public. This is for the best investing apps. Very valuable keyword if you can rank for them. The best investing app right now is X. Instantly meet the search intent, instantly tell them what's the best. It's also the best for getting featured snippets, because that is the most likely to be an answer to the question of best investing app. There's the least dependency hops, least confusion. If you go into the NLP side, that's like on there, like it's immediate. Then you have the social proof. 30 million investors using the app worldwide. It's the most known for copy trading feature that allows you to easily copy the portfolios of some of the best investors in the world. That is risk averse. I'm a beginner investor. I'm not sure what to do. This is my get out of jail free card. Now I can just hitch my ride to someone else that knows their stuff. Perfect. You immediately go for there, and so for each type of person you go there. And then at the bottom, if you want everything to be managed for you, go to Money Farm, because it's a robo-advisor that takes care of everything for you. So you try and match the main segments. We figured that those were the 2 main segments of best overall, beginners, whatever else, and someone who just wants hands-off robo-investors. And then you hit those main segments, because if you can figure out your audience and what they want to do and the actions they want to take, you can then funnel them like sheep to just go and do those things. And you've helped people, you've served your purpose, and that's what you're paid for as a middleman. Now you need to get paid. So I mentioned earlier that I do work with a SaaS. That SaaS is called Lasso. All of the examples coming up are built in Lasso. It's a great tool. It's far more than product displays, as I'll show you and mention in the future. But now you've done the hard work. You've reduced the anxiety of the reader who's not sure what to do in the intro. You've given a really strong value judgment that was clear and confident. You've removed as many objections as possible by giving them segments that they succeeded in, so that they can visualize themselves succeeding in those same scenarios. And now it's time to hammer it home. So this is an example one for the eToro Money Farm investment ones. You have your best overall, might be the best pay, might be what else. You've got the social proof from the stars, 4.8 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5 from Money Farm. You've got a quick bit of description that then hopefully gets them over the line with the main. And this is important as well, momentum is key. You can't lose momentum by just putting stuff in that isn't key to sales. For example, low trading fees, good. Money is important. Social investing, I'd argue that doesn't even need to be there. Copy the top investors in the world, that is good, because you just want the risk-averse stuff like that. You want to, I see a lot of people that do affiliate articles and they do these big CTAs and they've got so much data, and that looks good, but does it make you money? Because you lose momentum, you lose the sale, you lose that one thing that they are searching for, that if you can just really hammer home, they will buy from you. And so you want to remove all the objections without any of the fluff that makes it less likely you're going to make a sale, and then go from there. Here's an example of how it used to look before. I thought that the best overall and best ISO option could have been made stronger. If it's the best overall, you can still, I think it actually still does say, oh no, it says best investing app overall, but you can still be more precise. I would actually improve that. I would still include the star ratings. The pros and cons are important. If you just do a single product, you can use those for pros and cons schema as well. But I actually thought the CTA buttons could be improved. The top one being 4.5 out of 5 rather than like higher 4.8 here. Makes it less of a guarantee, and some of the pros and cons could have been improved as well. There are differences. So this one is, for example, on a versus article, but there are best articles that would be different. Often there's 3 top picks. Versus naturally is usually 1v1 or 1v1v1. If you're doing a versus article, eToro versus Money Farm, for example, what you do is you just find all the segments that come to that page. Whereas on a best article, you might have 1 segment per product. Best cheap, best premium, best industrial, best for Mac, best for Linux, whatever. Write down all the segments coming to a versus article. best for beginners, low-cost trading, social investing, best customer service, best UX, easiest to use, best for ISAs, whatever else, and divide them between which one of these is best for each. Now you might have something that's for multiple segments, but you capture everyone who is prioritizing that individual segment on that page, and you make it the least likely that you're not going to meet that person's need and try and get a sale. Whichever one they prefer, they'll opt for, but by making that so clearly defined and easy to follow, even for a scan reader, you'll make more money and you make their life a lot easier. In a single product review, you want to clearly show the pros and cons, star rating, and anything else you've got there. There's an example that I made with Lasso in like a minute. You can add any custom things. I added weight there just to show how it would be. For an example, like lightweight vacuums article. You mostly want to like highlight the good parts, get a nice description in there. You can use AI prompts to summarize like the best bits about an article to put that in the description. It's really easy to do. And you can also mention the cons, but ideally, if you're going to mention a con, like that could be a deal breaker for that person, you want to mention it with in mind a recommended alternative that you've also tested that's an internal link that you can funnel them to that they're better suited for, so that if they are just like they've got the wrong buyer intent for the page, you've still like not lost that like viewer and that traffic. You've funneled it somewhere else, you've got the extra page view, and maybe saved the sale as well. So if anyone like for example, if weight and this is too heavy, then you can funnel them to a specific like lightweight vacuum that you've reviewed, or a best lightweight vacuums article, or just a direct affiliate link if you want to. And then you've like had a chance at saving that sale for that person that was not a good fit for this particular product. How do you build these? I think I've gone over this. The ones in the top right are Lasso, the ones in the bottom left are an alternative. If you listen to the Niche Pursuits podcast, Jared is the amazing host of it, Jared Bellman. He recently switched from AWP to Lasso, and within the next month, I think it was from June to July, increased his affiliate revenue by 106%, which is pretty crazy. This is an example. The thread is live. It's got like 20K views. Feel free to check it out. But we've battle tested these displays over. We've not had a month where Lasso displays have been seen by less than 120 million page views in a long time. And we've still managed to like battle test them on all that data to make them convert as well as possible. And so we're pretty confident that we can help you make more money. This is an example for another product review with some things that I would change. So this is, I think Matt Giovanisi recently closed this down. I like the site, so I'm surprised that he closed it down. It's called Money Lab. And one of the things it's missing is the pros and cons, but because this is a display for his own course, I understand why you don't want to write cons about your own course, but good segmentation, an image that piques interest, effective description that induces action, even with like bolded parts to make sure that that's all sorted, a contrasting text and action triggering copy, as in the pink button instantly scroll stops and gets you to pay attention, and then Lasso automatically also adds the affiliate disclaimer so that you're never in like danger of being like attacked by the FTC or breaking Amazon's TOS. You can also do things that are just general tables when you're getting paid, but again, you don't want to lose too much momentum. And if you include like every spec under the sun, it can like be like easy to be like, well, I've got all the information. But intent isn't just about like having everything; it's about the intent. And so you want to make sure that you don't include stuff that one, doesn't convert, and two, like isn't essential. I call it dynamic spec relativity, where different things over different like keywords create different audiences that value different specs, and you have to pick the specs, features, and everything else that are dynamically most important for that particular keyword, whether it's a seed keyword or a long tail one. And so in something like this is what we factor to be important, DIY or a managed account. What's the minimum first deposit for anyone wanting to start cheap, the overall cost of different types of trading, the different investments you can make, and are there ISAs available? But if you start going to other things like how many megabytes is the app to download or anything else, you just lose momentum. So only the things that are essential to purchasing and trigger action triggering purchases are the things that you should focus on. It's so easy to just include everything because it's easy to instruct a VA to collect all the data. But it requires someone with taste, such as yourself, that knows the audience, who can really like dial in what this is. And when you make double as much per page view, it's worth it. This is another example. This is an example of what I think to be good sharing of specs, like the important things. I think this was best laptops for graphic design. what matters to graphic design, how powerful, so you can run like more like technically demanding like graphic design CAD software. So like storage, RAM, GPU, CPU. Like if you're going to export big files, you need the storage. OS, arguably, yeah, fine, I guess. The screen size, especially if you're editing large like graphic design CAD models, and the resolution. But you wouldn't go into the less important things. If you're trying to do something with a graphic design, it will be specifically weighted towards those elements. Afterwards, now you have the choice of doing this as well. It depends how many products you're highlighting. If it's just top 3, then you've just got this and it's fine. But if you've got a top 10 list, and again, I'm recommending that for your best articles, you go away from that, because there should only be as many products as there are segments, and you can more likely test them all if there's only 3. But if you've got different segments beyond your top 3, this is literally super simple. Just have a HTML, H2, and then like HTML lists, and then have item, product, segment. It's also increased the chance of getting featured snippets, because it's really easy to read HTML in list form, and so there's a lot of list snippets. Though check if there's a table snippet instead, because you may want to, like, they're pretty similar to build. It's just what's being picked up. But there's also a trend to consolidating this into one thing, and arguably, if you have intro, table, roundup block, you're losing some of the intent, because there's lots of different comparisons rather than just being laser focused on one. Here's the quick, like, what's the best? And so don't go too overboard. This is an example from a Best Laptops article that does it relatively well. I think that they're too light on like the comparative points. They have the segment, best laptop overall, best Windows laptop, best gaming laptop. But I think that to overcome objections, you need to deliver more segmentation for each one. However, this would surpass the need for a roundup block and a big table, because it does the job. It has more than 3. There's an artful way to do it. I recommend just having 3 or 4 products and then just having the top few at the top, and then you don't really need anything anyway. If you need to do something like this, there's also a lasso list function in Lasso that Lasso can do as many as you need, either vertically or horizontally, to do these sorts of things with as much detail and specs and comparative points and like pros and cons, custom fields as you need. And then finally, we've got into the main product reviews. So pros and cons is in the product review guidelines, like simple, like, you know, what's good and what's bad. Don't just say the good stuff, because then no one knows like what's not for them. You haven't eliminated any of the possible products as a potential buying option when you haven't said what's wrong with it, so they can like count themselves out if it doesn't work for them. Obviously, the segmentation, best for long-term position holders, best for hands-off investors. The more precise you can be, the more that when someone who is and fits that description goes and focuses and sees themselves in that, the more they think, yes, this person understands me and is more likely to buy. So the more specific, the specificity you use is essential. And including the key specs, but then not just the specs, because that's lazy and anyone can scrape them now. Expand on how that affects them and their experience with the product. How does that particular feature help or hinder them? What specific scenarios, and be as visual as possible and as descriptive and emotive as possible. How does that specific situation allow them to thrive and succeed, make more money, be successful, be the best version of themselves? And or, if you want to be more powerful, how does that solve a negative thing that they weigh up in their mind? You know, what went wrong in their childhood that meant that they need this to solve them out. You know, weight in a vacuum, it's nice to be like, oh, it's lightweight, but yeah, but you can go the other way. Don't talk about the back pain you'll get after you cleaned your kitchen, or the time saved so that you're not running around trying to catch up with your kids because you've got no time, if you're talking about time saved. This is what we have in our SOPs when we're advising this, and to be fair, they are already niche experts, so they mostly know what to do. At least 2 to 3 pros and at least 1 con. We now say 2 cons since this. The main specs in a short set of bullet points, of which those specs have to be the buying options. Eliminate all the other specs and features except the ones that are key to making a purchase decision for this particular long tail keyword. Discuss each spec, as well as what the real life applications this allows you to do, as well as what the limitations you can't do. For example, if we go back to that, this one here, and you go and this particular CPU or storage, if you've got 250 gigabytes of storage, that means that for most of your graphic design uses, you can create 2,000 exports of XYZ. However, you might need to upgrade to the 2 terabyte one if you plan on doing more than 40 exports a week, because based on 40 exports a week at 3 gigabytes each, you'll fill it up in 3 months if you don't. That's the kind of specificity that makes people go, okay, now I know exactly what's for me. I can make a purchase decision today that you then get credited for in the cookie because it hasn't elapsed from the time that you told them what to do. discuss cross comparisons to similar products in this price range. So if you've got two of the best cheap ones, discuss which type of person would benefit from each one better because of X, Y, Z spec that is better. Or if you go in the $300 price range, what do you not get if you went to the $600 price range? That's the differences. That's what they want to know when they're weighing up whether to expand their budget or not, because like, do I get ROI on going to the next level? Make it clear who it's for and who it's not for. This is an example, this might be quite difficult to read, but this is an example for within the best investing apps. You've got the key features at the top, you've got the CTA built-in lasso that has the pros and cons and a short description, as well as what I like about eToro that then underneath says, some of the things that it may not suit you if you do. Once you've got through all of your product reviews, there's the buying guide. These are like, if you know Facebook retargeting, what happens is you have a pixel and someone comes on your site and they leave without buying. Okay, it wasn't a good fit, but I can re-advertise to you. So to get you interested and back in my funnel, I send you something slightly higher in the funnel. I send you a lead magnet rather than trying to sell you straight on Lasso straight away. I send you the how to make a grand a day in affiliate marketing lead magnet. And now I've got you on the email list, and now I take you through the bottom of the funnel and then sell you. You can think of like buying guides or factors to consider or how to pick in the same way. You pick a particular thing that they should focus on. In this particular one, I've picked weight. You explain why. You add pain points as well as visual imagery to bring it to life. It's weight for a vacuum. You don't want to be laid in bed in pain instead of enjoying your free time. You mentioned specific numbers and value judgments that show expertise. We recommend choosing a kitchen vacuum under £10 because this gives you a better mix of portability as well as cleaning faster. And then once you've taken them through the funnel of like, this is why it's important for anyone. Because if they reach this point in the article, then they weren't ready to buy or your copy wasn't good enough. And then at the end, you sell them again. If lightweight is important for you, we recommend X product to solve your problem. There's an example that we did on a recent article with the investing apps. This is why it's important, low fees, obviously. One of the biggest advantages of investing for an app is low fees. Because it's cheaper than brokers. Look for an app that offers low fees on trades, deposit and withdrawal. I'd actually improve that by saying specifics, like look for an app that offers less than 0.5% fees on trades, as that's what institutional people charge you. Deposits and withdrawals that are less than XYZ charge. So the more specific you can be, the more that you'll gain trust and like utility is actually useful. Then you say if you value the lowest fees, then the cheapest one we recommend is this one. There's also FAQs, like you can choose to do these or not, like we're moving away from this, but here's how you can do good FAQs that are like unique and a source of information gain if you are not doing that. If you're a real expert, the first thing I recommend literally just getting a notepad out, sitting away from a computer, putting a 25-minute timer on a clock and just blue skies thinking, what questions, if you were coming onto this page, would you want to know? And what do you not answer on the page currently that you can answer? You could also ask the AI for ideas. You can say, this is my article, paste it all into Claude and say, this is my article, I'm trying to improve it. What are some FAQs that would improve this article that people coming onto the article would want to improve their article with? Another option is if you've got an audience and you've started building a brand, which I recommend you always do, try and build a newsletter list, try and make sure that people are talking about you, is survey your audience. Send your article to your audience and say, what did we not make clear enough here? What do you want to know? And anything that isn't clear enough, you just make the edits in the article, and anything they want to know, you can add as an FAQ. Like what's more like real life helpful informed than coming from your audience that are interested in this topic? If you want to get cheeky, so full credit to Authority Hacker because most of this came from them. I've edited like half of it to be, so they had like a general find like information different prompt that like to find gaps and content gaps. I've adapted this one to be specifically about FAQs where you put, you use the Web Pilot GPT-4 bit and then you and your competitors in there, and it will find the FAQs and different things that you can go off to have instead. There's also, like, if you want to get cheeky, you can say, can you give me some unique and perhaps unconventional questions a reader might have before being comfortable using an app? And it gave me some interesting stuff, like what encryption and security measures are used in place. No one else is talking about that, and people might be worried, especially if they're a beginner investor, that there's going to be a data breach that's going to mean that they lose their money. Like, it might be super unrealistic, but in marketing, it doesn't like necessarily have to be a problem for you to make it seem like a problem so that when you offer your solution, it's like super emotive and evocative. And then if they're still there, you failed like 5 times to sell them, which happens, it's difficult to sell. But it doesn't mean you have to lose them. This is an example from James Clear's website where like once you get to the end of something, it gives you like tailor-made solutions based on what you might be interested in, based on what article you come to. If you failed, they're either wrong in the funnel, wrong buyer intent, or your copy wasn't good enough, or they like you, but they just need coaxing to do more. And so send them to where they should be in the funnel. If they need to be slightly higher, they might see the price and balk at the price. So send them to how much does a vacuum cost, how to choose a vacuum. It might be a product specific thing they're not sure about between 2-3 products. So you can send them to a versus article that chooses between that product and a competitor. A related, more specific buyer's guide, for example, if they come onto a best vacuums article, send them to the best vacuums for starting a small business, if that's what they're looking for, any other segment that you've identified to be important, or send them higher in the funnel, explanation of the topic. What is a vacuum? How does a vacuum work? What uses, like what can a vacuum help me with? Because they may have just not been ready to buy. I also want to talk about trust because I touched on it, but like, it's not like you can't just make an affiliate site and win anymore, or win for 5 years straight. You have to really do the work now. And a quick note on trust is what I believe to be an affiliate signal is like literally this is not the same as an author bio, but you can just have a why trust me thing. That's a compelling description, ideally a real picture, saying like why you're an expert in your niche, why you're to be trusted in this particular article, aka I've really tested the products, I really did the work, history, I've been a journalist for 10 years in this industry, anything like that. The left example is from Wirecutter. They can rank for everything. They don't even really need this, hence why there's no picture or identifiable author. It's less strong. And the right is a niche site that historically did well. Actually, this one got hit pretty badly recently, but that I see as a good example of like a why you should trust me page. You can also add like what's changed to the bottom of your articles to show that your article is not just a static outsourced 3 years ago and left to die thing, but a living, breathing, changing like corpus that is kept up to date and therefore is trusty. This is the only niche site that ranks for like a huge affiliate term that like only DR90 like Tech Radar and whatever rank for. And they have, every time they change something, they change a product, they update their information, they list the day of the change and exactly what they changed and the reasonings for it. They're updating every month, and for like especially for freshness and like queries that depend on that, it's super important to show that beyond any reasonable doubt, you are one, an expert, and two, you're relevant and fresh. This is what I've seen some of the future PLC sites doing, which is like an editor's note. If you are a really trusted journalist in your niche, I would definitely leverage this, but not everyone can do it, especially if you're using like personas. The higher your trust signals that are attached to this, the better this will work. Tech Radar are in the luxury position where they've got people that have edited and had 10 plus years in the game to do all this stuff. So they can do this easier, but if you can put a face to the name and editor's note, this will always be a positive. You can also like add the products that didn't make your best list. These are the top 5 vacuums, but there were 3 others that we tested that didn't make it. This is them, what else we considered, and why they didn't make it. This one just didn't quite do it. It's not quite as lightweight, and it couldn't clean a certain type of flooring as well as the one that did make our list. Now they trust that one even more. And you can create a H2 for this and then optionally link to like the review of that product just in case they are curious there. And a way to report problems. So you can literally have like an email. If you want to discuss anything about this, you can email us here. I recommend you do that. And it's better to have the actual author's like email. Like you can have them redirect to your central like actual niche site email, but if it can look more personalized, then that's more powerful in my opinion. Or just a report problems button at the bottom that then when triggered like comes up with an email ad thing that then like they can rank it out of 5 stars if they liked it or not, or give you specific problems like this link is broken, I disagree with this is factually inaccurate, that I believe is both like a crawlable trust signal and just a good, like this is what a real brand would have. We've talked about CRO and like what you can do on the page, but there's also, this is where I think most people are weakest. Most people do not have a firm enough grip over their data, and most people don't know where their revenue is coming from. They just see that they're getting money in the account every month, and it's probably from their most high revenue posts, because it probably is. If you can check the products, You may sell the same products on multiple pages. It's difficult to know which ones are making the sales, and therefore which one you should put the most budget behind to improve and optimize and build links to and everything else. If you can make that instant and know exactly what you've sold, which page is delivering what revenue, which sleeper hits you have that don't get many page views but deliver exponentially more revenue per page view than others, that you can then try and drive more traffic to. This is really important stuff. If I had to guess, I'd say that if people had that perfect data, they'd double their income within 3 months just by implementing those changes. This is what you need to measure. It's pretty basic, but revenue is obviously important. But so many people just go, yeah, I've got 25% recurring commissions on this. Yeah, but like, does it convert like shit? Like, if it's not converting, it's not going to be worth anything. The only metric to care about is earnings per click. Revenue doesn't tell you the whole story, as it's nominal and not relative. Earning per click tells you how much you make per action. You can actually see it, like share a sale. I think Impact show the earning per clicks for some, like for the affiliate program as a whole. Amazon don't give you this. But even beyond that, like if you join a program and they have 50 products and there's only a program-wide EPC, that's really not that helpful because some things will sell better than others and vice versa. So measure it, test it, and then optimize for anything that has the best earnings per clicks. Don't worry about conversion rates. Don't worry about commission rates. All of those feed into the overarching EPC. And to measure this on a product and page level, you know, what's my earning per click on this whole page? Or when someone clicks this particular product, how much do I make? So you can put those ones at the top so you make the most money per page view. You can do this in some, believe Share a Sale, CJ Impact and those ones let you create custom sub-IDs that you can then track whether that particular sub-ID passed through when the conversion happened to know that you sold that particular product, to then try and like do the backwards calculations. And monitor it in a spreadsheet, but that's really like, I mean, I don't want to do it. I don't like that's boring. I value my time. I don't want to do that stuff. And also, you just can't really do it in Amazon because it's not built for it. They don't share that data with you as well. Whereas like Impact is much more generous with the data, Amazon is not. Fortunately, there is a solution. We've spent the last year with 5 full-time developers just trying to crack this, to add custom sub-IDs automatically to every single like article, every page and every product link on your site, so that anytime something's clicked, that is triggered, that's measured, so that if that feeds through and leads to the conversion, you can then get the EPC data directly. With Lasso's performance tool, you'll be able to see the exact CTR of each link. For example, if the 4th position link is getting more clicks than the first, then the people have spoken and you should put that higher because clearly people want that. Like that's like data-driven optimizations. Conversions, EPC for each link to then organize based on that, and also prioritize which actual pages on your site you should prioritize. Most people see this and realize that actually, I should be focusing on this cluster because this is more profitable. This is an example. On the left, you can see an example article on my site. You can see the revenue, the page views, the CTR, the earning per click, the actual revenue that each product on that page made, as well as the CTR. The top one here having like 10.9% CTR. If that wasn't the top link on the page or one of the ones you're prioritizing, then clearly that is something that people are interested in. And that should be focused on, right? And there's also just a general, you can hook in 20 plus affiliate networks, Amazon, Share a Sale, Impact, Reversion, Skimlinks, CJ, affiliate, all these other ones, like 25 of them. You can hook them all in, and then you can see exactly how much revenue you're making every day in one place rather than having to log into like 20 plus dashboards and like logging in and seeing and waiting for the data to come through. So it saves a lot of time even without the page and revenue and link level data that you can use to optimize with. We even send you a daily email that goes, you made $3,000 today. That if you click on it, it will show you how that breaks down by program and by everything else, and whether it was more or less than last week. So you don't even have to log in. We'll just give you the daily, the weekly, and the monthly update. We want it to be like GSC, but for affiliate, because no one's doing that at the moment. And you can literally sign up today and use all this. Before we move on to this, I just want to say CRO and managing your data to correctly, to delegate to VAs or people on your team to then make those changes is already, if you're just doing the basics, not optimized, I hate to think how much more money you could be making, 2 to 3x conservatively. But that even assumes that you're on the same commissions. If you optimize, so you're selling twice as many sales, you're selling 100K per month for them instead of 50, I mean, to be fair, 50K is decent leverage. But if you sell more now, the more you sell for these affiliate managers, the more leverage have. Affiliate managers often have secret rates for top affiliates because you hold all the leverage. I send you sales, you need me. I obviously need you, but I can argue that I don't. I can go to your competitor. And you'd be surprised how much wiggle room there is if you just sent that email. But if you don't ask, why are they going to give more cuts to you? Often the affiliate managers are just an employee. They need to send XYZ dollars sales per month, or they're in hot water. They're in difficult situations. They might get fired if they can't justify the spend. So they need you. And they will advocate for you if they feel like you are their ticket to getting more sales, reaching their targets, getting their bonuses. So they will advocate for your position in their larger company if you can get them on side. And that means more rates. Here's some examples. This is how I made a lot of my money. Is like originally it was like 6%, now it's 12.5%, and that program, like I think the one that was referencing, did like $19,000 in a month. I think it does like 25-30K in a month for us now, but that would be half that if we hadn't sent one email that made us another 200 grand a year. And so I can't stress enough that if you value your time, if you send one email that could make you 10 grand a year, and that email takes you 20 minutes to write, congrats, you just your time is now worth 30 grand an hour. If you can send 3 of those an hour and make 10 grand each. Obviously you can't do that continuously, but that is the highest ROI on your time you could ever do. I've written a thread that I've linked in the slides if you want to, on how I made an extra 3.5 grand a month just by going back and forth between, I'll give you the short of it, is two very similar retailers, Amazon style retailers, had 5% rates. And for a brief time, one of them increased them to 10% for the holiday period. So I was like, cool. I went to their competitor and said, we've been given 10% forever. Quick lie, works out, And then they were like, all right, we'll match it. Then I went to the others and said, all right, well, thank you for this. Once the 2-month promo time ended, I was like, by the way, your competitors have given this full time. They were like, okay, we'll give you 12.5%. Then I went back to the others and said, sorry guys, they've given me 12.5%. And then they matched it. And now, from one temporary increase from 5 to 10%, are 2 permanent increases to 12.5%. They at the time were making us 2.5 grand a month. And so slightly more than doubling it. I think they increased it by about 3.5 grand a month. And this was a year ago. CRO, on page, structuring correctly, making it as delegatable, scalable, yet as nuanced for the segments as possible, huge already. Managing your data better, prioritizing better, delegating better, doing more and being more effective, also hugely important. Getting paid correctly, also hugely important. This is the last thing. I am not immune to updates. I've been hit myself. I still do pretty well because we get a lot for those page views, but we've seen our page views by Google at least decline. Still great on Bing. Bing is lovely. But as I try and recover, and as you know, I talk about squeezing everything you can of your affiliate site. You can't squeeze out of zero traffic. You have to get traffic. So here are some of the things that I am working on myself as I try and recover these hits. The first thing is to think, am I really unfairly hit, or have my competitors outworked me? In some cases they had. I was complacent, I didn't do some things, and really it took taking my own bias off and looking honestly to think, I think my sites are good. I don't think they should have been hit. But how do I make it so there's zero chance of that conflation and error even being made, because they're so much better than everything else? They are the kings of their niches. So number one, how fucked is your index? I had a check, and multiple versions of my homepage were indexed because we'd built a nice new one. So the domain.com and the domain.com/home were indexed. It's pretty basic, grim stuff, to be honest. I'm a bit embarrassed. And then there was another static, all articles, /all articles, that it was 3 the same intent, right? It's just a bad look. We had a bunch of thin pages with pagination and canonicalization issues. So to get over those, you can just fix the pagination with those sorts of things, as well as just adding more articles per category page to reduce the number of pages. So you have a lot of thin author pages that aren't written well to show everything related to social signals, their history and the niches, everything else. That makes it a more powerful EAT signal. Probably mine weren't good. We're still in the process of improving them. This is not me saying that I've done this all. This is just the things that I'm trying to do now that I think are important enough for me to spend my own time doing them. Number two, how well do you actually meet intent? This was a shock to me. I recently spoke with someone who's exited millions and millions of sites, of dollars worth of sites. And I primed myself as the content guy, the intent affiliate CRO psychology person. But when I got this audit back from from a person who's on a level higher than me, I had to just see that actually I hadn't done this as well as I thought I had. There's a real, you can broadly meet the intent of like a top 10 best laptops page if you've got the best and then 10 reviews, but you don't like, you have to be so now, especially on competitive stuff. This is a game I used to play back in the day called Jumpers for Goalpost, and one of these things you had to do was pass the ball at the right time, and that pendulum would swing and you'd have to get it on the green bit around all the red. The green bit is like the perfect matching of intent, and in this particular case, if you look at that bar, there's a lot of red around that, of irrelevant things around that. That's how I see most affiliate articles. And the wider you can make that green bit of like perfect matching intent without muddying intent with loads of other things. If you've got how does a vacuum work, what is a vacuum, and loads of other nonsense supporting information, the history of vacuums on your affiliate post, that is not related to that particular keyword. It should be a different article. It should not be on that page. You should have your history of vacuums. If you want to build out topical authority and build links to it, then great. But you just want to completely narrowly and precisely and specifically hit that intent. If you fudge and mix intent like I did on some pages, you just won't, definitions of what it is, explaining how it works, the history. Arguably a how to pick section can meet intent, but even this needs to be done artfully, and I'd put it below the product reviews now. There's, like I said, there's a major macro broad meet of intent, and then there's specific intent. And the specific intent is best practice now. How much of a brand does Google really think you are? So I've mentioned that I do work with Lasso. On the left is if you go to Lasso and you click the 3 dots in the SERP and you say about this source, you'll see what Google knows about your site. In this particular case, because Lasso has an affiliate program, it encourages people to do reviews. A lot of them are like affiliate reviews. So a cheat code is, if you have like a niche site, you can add an e-com element, make the affiliate program super juicy, and then get everyone to review it for you and get your references up. Trustpilot, Muckrack, there's a bunch of others I'm going to go to in a second. The Spruce on the right, DR90, successful affiliate site, has been written about in the press, as well as like general things like SimilarWeb and things, Scam Advisor, Muckrack, Crunchbase, of which a lot of these you can build for your sites, and I recommend that this is what I'm doing. Some of the most common ones, having looked at a lot of affiliate sites, Crunchbase, you can get your own profile. It's not really checked. If you've ever 301'd a domain into your main domain, you can publish a press release, create a Crunchbase for that site, and then put it as a subsidiary, and then embed the news in the Crunchbase so that you just like making it look as like a legitimate acquisition as possible. PitchBook, if you've ever acquired a company, you can do the same there. You don't even have to. You just have to like make it look like you're open to investment. Muckrack is important, both for you and your authors, so that you can have them feed into each other and go there. You can then, there's Trustpilot as well, especially if you've got e-com sites, and then you can use all of that to feed into a Wikidata and then start building yourself in the knowledge graph. There's also some less common ones that I see in some people's about this source sections in Google. Again, I can't promise that this actually has a material impact. I'm not sure if having a SEMrush free traffic estimator in there like has an effect, but it is an instance of having more about this source. And so many niche sites have 0 sources. It's also Scam Advisor, SiteJabber, Reddit. You can fake this. You can publish a post in your niche's subreddit saying, is niche site a trusted source, and then just spam it with bot comments and aged accounts that are all really positive sentiment, and then that should come up eventually in your about this source. 6 Sense, another location thing. Media bias fact check, SimilarWeb. I mean, if you're on media bias fact check, that's probably not a good thing, but it is an example of things that I'm seeing in the about the source parts that are brand references and what Google sees to be about your entity. Having a real product makes this so much easier. As I mentioned, just literally create an affiliate program, outreach everyone, and encourage people to write reviews. Also, I mentioned this about Muckrack. That's the brand level. There's also like the author level. Kazra speaking later, I chat to him about guest posts with like your authors' names on them to build your author branded SERP, as he calls it, out. I'm currently paying Kazra a few grand to do that for some of my sites, and so I can vouch for it. The Muckrack, and then link them to your, each of your authors do their Muckrack profile, link to your Muckrack business so that their articles are syndicated to your Muckrack business profile. Ideally, each of your authors has a Quora, Twitter, LinkedIn, Medium, even better. I haven't done this. This is just advice I've received from people that are higher levels than me. eBooks on Amazon, Google Play, Coursera courses. Get them in Wikidata. As soon as there's notoriety, notability requirements on Wikidata, not as strict as Wikipedia, obviously, but from what I understand and what I've been doing, if you have Zoom info, Muckrack, Rocket Reach, and Crunchbase, LinkedIn, that should be enough to get your Wikidata accepted. And then guest posts and niche edits on other sites. Guest posts, I'd say, are not as good as this as niche edits, because with a guest post, you've got to make sure that they're not orphaned, and there's like more editorial work to make them prepared. Whereas a niche edit, you can pick whatever you want that's already got links, that's already got traffic, that's already relevant, that's ranking. And then like niche edit, a quote from your author on your site, going back to your site, linking to your author profile, which is obviously going to be more effective than a guest post in that particular one. But only having niche edits that turn up 2 years after the article's publication is going to be too one-sided on that front. So balance it out with guest posts, with Harrow and everything else as well. And third, obviously, how much branded search do you get? A lot of the sites, this could be correlative, that I'm seeing that do well have branded search because they're a real brand, because people are looking for them, because they sell real products and people want those products, because they run a trade show and an event, they have an awards ceremony, and people search for it for those things. Also, are your links better than everyone else? So one of my sites is a DR54. It's all right, but our top competitor is DR76. It's going to cost 6 figures to catch up if we want to put that in there. We can go for the cheapest ones first and work our way up. We're not going to pay $5 grand for Forbes and $3.5 grand for Business Advisor just yet, but you know, this is some of the KPIs that I would use to measure where you are compared to your competitors in the link graph. How many DR40 plus links that say according to are within the citation paragraph, which is obviously doable by Harrow, digital PR, other PR, which are like, they're not going to move the needle in terms, they're not going to make you rank a lot higher instantly, but they're great for like, well, they're authority links that might not be super powerful, but they show you and your authors to be a powerful, like a trusted source. And then for relevance, how many DR40 plus links do you have from domains that have your niche in the domain? These are some KPIs that, having spoken to some people that have exited really big sites, this is the KPIs that they're using and the ones that I'm now following. So for example, if you operate in the vacuum niche or the cleaning niche, how many DR40 links do you have from domains that have vacuum or cleaning or home or whatever in the domain name? And compare that to other people in the niche here. That's like super relevant links. And what is the overall DR range for your top 100 do follow no redirect backlinks? So for me, on my DR54 site, the top 100 going from 1 to 100, the top one was DR94, it was a New York Times link that we got naturally. And the 100th most powerful do follow no direct link was a DR55. I compare that to my competitor with DR76. They go from DR98 and the 100th biggest link is DR89. That shows that they've got a much more consistent, powerful set of powerful links, and it goes for 100 plus, whereas we start to whittle down to normal DR55 affiliate sites by that point. Then once you understand how many different ones you've got in the same way, at the middle point, how many DR40 plus links do you have from domains that have your niche in the domain name? We had, I believe, 23 with our niche in it. They had 73. So now I can outreach all of those, figure out how they got them and try and get those and close the gap. But those are some decent KPIs that I would measure for catching up on the link building side. Now, use these lessons to stack the cash. I really appreciate your time, and Charles, for having me on. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Jamie_IF. My website is increasing.com. My newsletter is increasing.com/newsletter. If you want to find me on YouTube, just type in Jamie IF. If you want to listen to my podcast, just type in Click Wars on any podcast service or on YouTube. And if you want to try out Lasso, go to getlasso.co, not com, go to .co, and we'll help you make a lot more money. Thank you very much.